on any day. And of course, the rain now starting to come down. But again, the severe portion of the storm is to your south and west. You see at the Gluckstadt exit coming up to Gluckstadt Road. We've got the traffic starting to back up there at the red light as you come up to Gluckstadt. So again, two different views here to kind of give you an idea of what we're seeing weather-wise in two different sections of the metro area. This one's going to be the first one to get the worst of it. The second one will be the one up towards the north.
You can see that traffic already backing up there, just typical traffic that you would find on a Wednesday evening across central Mississippi. This is what we're looking at here. Here's the city of Jackson, not under a warning at this point in time, but some rough weather is definitely coming in from the southwest at this point. You can see lots of red and yellow and orange on the radar. That indicates heavy rain. So if you live from Clinton, where it's already raining, over through the city of Jackson and northwest Rankin, now's the time to kind of stay put and get that plan together. We just want to give you a heads up. We're not under a tornado warning, but a severe thunderstorm warning, absolutely. And there's the potential that this could turn tornado at any point in time, especially as we start getting over to about Raymond Road and also Sywell Road. That's where we could be looking at the potential of this turning into a tornado at any moment in time. Looking at the storm now, it's southwest of Dry Grove, or at least close to Dry Grove Road and Chapel Hill as well. We do have our field crews out. They're all over covering the storm. We have our storm tracker right now in Hinds County that's nearing the Jackson area. And then we're actually have a crew that's intercepting the storm that's close to Satartia. So where we have a tornado warning that remains in effect, Bentonia. We were talking a lot about Bentonia just a couple weeks ago because of the tornadic threat there now. And now the cell is very close to Highway 433. There it is in the Anding community. I believe we have Quentin Smith with one of our crews out there. Just try to get an idea. I think we're out on Highway 49, or are we actually on Highway 433? Do you know in the back? If you could just tell me, or should we just ask Quentin himself? Okay, you tell me when we're ready, and we'll go to Quentin. I know where they're setting up there. Okay, Quentin Smith is out there right now. I know you're in Yazoo County. Can you tell me where you are and what you're seeing right now, Quentin?
Yeah, Dave. So we're just off of Highway 433, and this is that funnel cloud that you all were mentioning earlier. We're near the Satartia area. This is, and you can kind of still see parts of the funnel cloud right now. For the most part, this area is just seeing moderate rainfall, lightning strikes, and decent winds. But for the most part, not too much is happening in this area. People are listening to you all. They are staying off the roadways, and the residents I've spoken to, they were leaving, heading home to take cover to prepare for the storm that's coming to this area. But again, things are relatively quiet and calm out here for right now. I'm here near Satartia off of Highway 433, but that's the very latest from right now. But of course, we'll continue to monitor the storm as it approaches, and we'll bring you the very latest as it becomes available.
So it's a little hard to see the funnel cloud that we're looking at in the video there, because obviously it's obscured by rain, but you could see where that lightning was flashing frequently in the distance. And that would be where this potential tornado is. I hate calling it a potential tornado because, again, there was the possibility that it actually touched down. But the true way to know whether a tornado really happened or not, we wait for crews from the National Weather Service to survey any significant damage that was associated with it, and they get the final verdict on it. But if there's a tornado, I can tell you right now, that's where it is, just west of 49 and north of Bentonia here. And this is going to continue moving northeastward. We now have a severe thunderstorm warning that is being issued for Benton and Scotland and Deasonville. I don't want to celebrate this too much, but it's not at least a downstream tornado warning, meaning they have not decided, or they have decided at this point, this does not warrant a continuation of that tornado warning. But this is a pretty dangerous storm. You've got frequent lightning in here. You've got very heavy rain. Benton, Scotland, Deasonville, up to almost Ebenezer. Ebenezer-Cocksburg Road is actually just across the line here, but this is the area that we are very concerned about, the other half of Yazoo County. And if you're in Yazoo City, while the weather's pretty bad, it's raining, it's windy, the worst of the weather's staying just south of town. So that's where that is right now. The tornado warning expires at 5:45 this evening. The severe thunderstorm warning expires at 6:15 this evening for the rest of Yazoo County. Let's talk about Hinds County again real quickly, as we're now at 5:30 here, just keeping you up to date on the time and watching what's going on. This particular storm cell is continuing to move northeast, and they're moving slower than what we've seen recently out of these storm systems. They're not moving nearly as fast, 35 miles an hour. Again, when we were seeing 60, 65 miles an hour, remember the last storm system? That's where we had wind damage happening with almost every storm cell. This is bad. Don't get me wrong. Look at all that red that you're seeing on the screen. They're coming up through Chapel Hill, Dry Grove Road, over to near Bethesda, nearing Spring Ridge. And that's going to cause some problems here. It's going to be very disruptive for travel, especially with the evening commute that is still going on right now. I wanted to go over to Peyton Garrison and talk a little bit more about what we can expect later on this evening with that stuff in Louisiana.
Yeah, so we are tracking that stuff out in Louisiana. Looks like at this point in time, they now have a confirmed tornado on the ground just south of Monroe. So we have to get past this line, which will be swinging into our area within the next few hours. Of course, we have that initial batch of storms ahead, which we have been tracking for you over the past hour or two. But we have to get back past this batch of storms still tracking through Arkansas and Louisiana. Once that passes through, it should pass through up until midnight or so, then that severe risk will diminish. But until then, we want everyone to be alert, stay aware going forward from here on out, basically through the remainder of our evening.
And just a heads up, the storm that we were looking at down south in Hinds County, starting to see a little bit more rotation associated with it, starting to kink up a little bit more just south of Highway 18. So we're going to keep an eye on this. You see it right through here. Starting to get a little bit more organized. This is moving off to the north and east. And these storms are trying to, again, wrap up quickly. We saw that with the storm as it was making its way across the Mississippi River. Initially, it very quickly went from nothing to something. And that's another thing that we talked about this morning. This could go from 0 to 100 very quickly. Hopefully, that's not the case with this particular storm, but it's very quickly trying to wrap up. So it's trying to organize itself. It's in a cycling process. The downstream look of this coming across Spring Ridge Road, again, on the southern side of Spring Ridge Road, south of Highway 18, out towards Sywell Road, Hines Parkway, Gary Road, eventually pushing out towards Byram, Old Byram Road. And eventually, if it holds all together, that general track here, and let's put a storm track on this, Peyton, downstream of this and take it all the way out towards Rankin County. Because while, again, Rankin County not underneath the severe thunderstorm warning, if this holds together, it will likely be a warning coming out for you guys here soon enough. It will probably move across the Mississippi, the Pearl River, rather, coming up here at about 6:10 or so. Pearl, you see 6:13 or so. That would also, we'd say, out towards Richland and Florence, about 6:10 or so. So another 30 minutes as this makes its way off to the north and east. The Jackson Medgar Wiley Evers International Airport at 6:22. Brandon, we're talking downtown Brandon. If you live in North Brandon, we'll say up towards the reservoir, it'll probably be a little bit closer to about 6:20 or so. But downtown Brandon, about 6:30 as it makes its way farther eastward, probably about 6:45, 7 o'clock out towards Pelahatchie, Leesburg, and out towards Goshen Springs as well.
So what we're doing right now is we're tracking a small tornado warning. I'm talking about small in the sense of size, how much land it's covering. That would be in Yazoo County. It's right here. It's for Bentonia northward, really a rectangular shaped area of Yazoo County. That's going to expire here in the next few minutes, possibly before 5:45. But we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Jackson, or excuse me, for Hinds County, just outside of Jackson. And the way things are shaping up, that is a severe thunderstorm warning that will go until 6 o'clock this evening. And that severe thunderstorm warning is something we have to watch very closely because it would not take much for the storm to possibly tornado, if you will, and become a major issue. Regardless, it's going to move over the city of Jackson probably within the next few minutes or so. We've got our storm tracker currently on the road. I believe it's in Hinds County right now. If we can take a live look at that. Brandon Walker is with the storm tracker, and you're already running into some rain out there right now.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, we're going in. So right now we're headed towards Byram. Again, we're on, this is going to be I-20 headed west, correct, Keith? And so again, we're going to go ahead and toss things to the cam right now so we can get an idea of what's happening. Again, we've been really talking about this cell that's been moving, that's going to be moving towards Byram. And so right now, a lot of rainfall is being associated with this particular system as it makes its way closer to it. But again, if you take it downstream, again, folks, that'll be downstream. You got Richland, then you got Pearl. Again, if that continues to go in that line, but a lot of rainfall associated with this particular system right now. And again, also windy conditions out here. I know we have folks that are on the road that are hopefully trying to get home. That's the hope. You know, maybe you got let out of work early if, you know, folks are getting off early, especially that live in the Jackson metro area, whether that be Pearl, Richland, Byram. go ahead and let them know, hey, we have a cell that's headed towards you. Go ahead and make sure you have that prepared plan now. Although that's still a severe thunderstorm warning, we know how quickly these can grow to tornado warnings. But again, this is just a look out on I-20 West. We're heading towards Byron. We're actually about to go ahead and shift trajectory back towards Pearl, but letting you know that the rainfall is certainly falling out here as we get closer to Byron, Richland, also in the Pearl area.
Okay, we want to point out a couple things right now. This is in eastern Louisiana. This is where we have a confirmed tornado near Grayson. And actually, it's closer to Caldwell, if I'm not mistaken, Columbia, Louisiana, out here on Highway 165. We now have a very large tornado warning that goes all the way to just about the Mississippi-Louisiana border. It actually does. It goes right up to the river, across the river from Vicksburg. So I want to put you all on alert in west central sections of Mississippi. This is still a distance away, but Peyton and I were looking at this, and her eyebrows went way up when she said, do you see how fast that thing's moving? 65 miles an hour is how fast this storm is coming right now out of Louisiana. So the ones that are over the metro area are moving 35 miles an hour. For comparison, this particular cell, which is believed to be, again, it's a confirmed tornado coming out of Columbia, Louisiana, is moving 65 miles an hour, almost twice that speed, and it is moving eastward, almost northeastward, towards west central Mississippi. Will it hold together? Possibly. You know how these tornadoes are. Sometimes they bounce, sometimes they don't stay long track. But at this point in time, Weather Service said, hey, they've got enough proof that this thing's a major cell that they've issued a tornado warning that takes it all the way up to the Mississippi border right now. So this is part of that main line of storms that I was telling you about this evening that's going to be moving in, and we're going to have to deal with it at some point. Right now, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning for Yazoo County, tornado warning for the next few minutes for Bentonia, and then farther south, we've got some wet weather coming in Hinds County, and we have to pay close attention to that particular storm cell, which seems to be taking forever to get up to about Jackson.
Well, that particular warning in Hinds County is actually about to expire. So they will reissue another severe thunderstorm warning, this one including Hinds County again, and also parts of Rankin County. So that has yet to come out, but they're not issuing a tornado warning. So this is just going to be probably the same deal where it's going to be a severe thunderstorm warning, mainly for winds, but they're probably going to add that tornado possible tag on top of that.
And to go along with that, just kind of looking at the radar again, it looks like the storm is trying its hardest to try to wrap up. And there's your new severe thunderstorm warning. It does look like they opted to go without the tornado possible. Yes, just a standard severe thunderstorm warning. But the storm itself is rotating, and no doubt about it. It's the question of trying to get it down to the ground. That's what we are seeing. You see it right here. You see the reds going away from the radar site, greens going towards the radar site. But this thing's got some wind with it, blowing eastward. Brandon was actually along 55 heading southbound, heading towards Byram, closer to Daniel Lake in Savannah. If the folks in the back can let him know, try to get him as far south of that storm, south of Byram, getting closer to say Wendell Road exit. Get him south of Wendell Road quickly before that storm comes rolling across I-55, because it does look like it will come across somewhere near Byram and South Jackson, out here between Byram and South Jackson exit. So we're talking like Elton Road out towards Daniel Lake, Savannah, and eventually McDowell, if this stays on the same path. And we did track this out again out towards Pearl, Richland. So give it another couple of minutes. Of course, the storm will be moving across your area. That tornado warning that was in effect for Yazoo County, still there technically. The storm itself is now outside the warning, but it's trying to wrap up again. That's the thing about these storms. They're trying to wrap up. And so the severe thunderstorm the severe thunderstorm warning that's currently in effect for Yazoo County has a tornado possible tag. It looks like this thing's trying to wrap up here just to the north of Murrayville. So across Highway 433 near Benton. So I'd say in Benton, take the course of least regret here. It will cross Highway 16 in a very similar place to where the tornado went through about, 2 weeks ago, lifting off to the north and east. So again, there's your circulation. Again, just north of Murrayville. It'll make its way off to the north. It'll cross over here near Benton, between Benton and Berryville. So this is Highway 16 right here. Again, like I said, go ahead and take the course of least regret here, because there is some rotation with that storm, and the gradual progression here will take it off to the north and east, crossing 16, 432, and eventually makes its way up towards southern Holmes County here probably within the next couple of minutes. Like I said, that's a severe thunderstorm warning technically, but it does look like it's trying to wrap up here fairly soon.
The tornado warning is no longer in effect for Yazoo County. We're going to continue to stay on the air, though, okay? What we're doing here is we've got these thunderstorms that are on the border, okay, of potentially going tornadic. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue here for a few minutes as long as these storms are kind of borderline and monitor them in case they go tornadic in a matter of seconds. We can tell you about that right away as opposed to breaking back into programming. It's active out there right now, but as we've been saying, this is the initial stuff. We still have to deal with the activity in Louisiana that will be here in the next few hours, and that could be the real main event. I am a little interested to see how much these thunderstorms can churn up the atmosphere and maybe saturate things enough where maybe that could actually dampen the ability of these storms to continue to be intense. But at this point in time, it's only 5:41. There's still sunlight above the clouds out there, and that heat is going to continue to be generated. That's energy, and that's going to continue out there for at least the next 1 to 2 hours. And there's still going to be plenty of it around even after sunset. So that's something we're going to keep in mind. But if you're in northern parts or eastern parts of Yazoo County, be on guard that this is a severe thunderstorm that has the potential to put out a tornado very quickly. We are all under a tornado watch until 10 o'clock tonight. So keep that in mind. And yeah, it's unfortunate. Benton, Berryville, we're talking about the same thing we were talking about just 2 weeks ago. And here we are again. We find ourselves in the same situation, potential of a severe storm that could have a tornado with it. Farther south, let's talk about the severe thunderstorm warning that's now in effect for the city of Jackson. This includes northwest Rankin County, Dogwood, over to the Spillway, South Jackson, Pearl, Florence, and Richland. This severe thunderstorm warning goes until 7 o'clock. It just barely ekes out or really clips out the Clinton area. But you could see much of Jackson's included in it. Not Madison County right now, but if you live in Ridgeland or Madison, guess what? This weather's coming in too from the west. And this storm, this entire cluster of storms, will be working its way on through from the southwest here before long. But this storm that's over by Spring Ridge Road, it's very problematic because it has been trying to do a little dance, if you will, over the past couple of hours. Since it started forming, we have seen it try to get that little kink up where it tries to do something. And in fact, if we're looking over by Palestine right now, I just saw, I believe on one of the wind products you had up there, Peyton, that there is that potential that we're starting to see the inflow and the outflow. Again, that's in the atmosphere. That doesn't necessarily mean it's on the ground, but this is something you want to pay very close attention to if you're near Spring Ridge Road, South Jackson, over by Forest Hill, because that's where this storm is coming next. And over here, you got 55, the Byram exit, Old Byram, New Byram there. And this storm is going to be swinging on through here in the next few minutes, moving northeast at about 30 miles an hour, considerably slower than the storms that we are watching out in eastern Louisiana. I think what's going to happen here, how this is going to play out, and Peyton, you tell me if you think I'm right or wrong. I feel that the storms that are in eastern Louisiana are probably going to catch up with all this activity in a matter of time, probably in the next 2 to 3 hours. And we're probably going to be dealing with that as the main event here before long if this stuff doesn't start to turn into something.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, especially compared to when we were looking at that tornado warning that's coming out of Louisiana, not in effect for any of our areas, but something we will keep a close eye on because it does come up to the leading edge of some of our counties out towards the river. They're moving at 65 miles per hour. The storms that we have been monitoring across parts of the I-55 corridor are only moving around 30 to 35 miles per hour. So that's certainly a pretty good likelihood that they are going to catch up to the storms that are currently impacting the area right now.
And Patrick Ellis is also watching what's going on the radar. And you can see they just updated the actual severe thunderstorm warning. It now encompasses less of southwestern Hinds County, but city of Jackson's about to see some rough weather here in the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, it looks like the new warning does include downtown Jackson. And it does also include Pearl, Richland out towards Dogwood, and downtown Brandon, North Brandon as you head up towards the reservoir. But again, the storm as a whole, it's trying to rotate. It's just not really doing so great right now in doing that. But it does have some strong winds associated with it that could put down some trees and power lines out here near Spring Ridge Road. It's about to make its way off to the north and east through Byram, South Jackson, out towards, we'll say, out towards Daniel Lake, out towards Terry Road, Gary Road. It looks like it's staying north of Tank Road, but needless to say, this whole area here, north and east of where that storm is located at, again, need to take the course of least regret. We know we have folks out on the roadways right now. Again, it's rush hour. What'd you say? Okay, so we got Storm Tracker heading southbound along 55, heading down towards Terry. So they're getting out of the way of this storm, and they'll be able to turn back and look back at it once they get down there. But needless to say, again, what we're watching is this storm going to cross across I-55 here fairly soon, and then eventually make its way out towards Rankin County. Let's go wide scale here. And again, we were talking about how these storms here, the initial band, could very well try to weaken the band behind it. Let's hope that that is trying to take some of the energy out of the atmosphere. One thing that me and Dave were talking about very early this morning, we had a very early morning conversation about 1 o'clock. We were talking about how the storms were going to be moving through the area, and if we could see what we call air mass recovery, basically the storm system moving through the area, the storms kind of weaken the instability, the ingredients that are in the atmosphere. If that would be a situation where we could quickly recover all those ingredients to get the severe weather to continue as it moves through here. This may have helped out. Let's hope that that's the case. But keep in mind that the storms that we had, these storms here started back over here closer to East and West Carroll parishes of Louisiana, but about 2 hours ago. So about 3 o'clock this afternoon, we started seeing the storms flaring up near the Mississippi River. Then we still have storms that are rolling through here, and this has actually some more forcing behind it with the squall line developing that could also help to facilitate strong storms. These storms are not moving that fast. These storms are going to catch up to it, and the question mark that I've got with that is when you have these cell mergers, when you put the two storm systems together, because they're really part of the same storm system as a whole, but they're really two different brands of storms that have developed here. When you have those two mash up together, will you start moving and shaking going on with the storms? Will you have that rotation? Will you have the strong winds that are associated with it? Remember, these storms are moving at 65 miles an hour. These are moving at 30 miles per hour. So basically, think about you coming down the interstate, and interstate stopped up over at the stack in the mornings, and you're coming up at 65 miles an hour. Eventually, you're going to run into it at some point unless you hit the brakes. These things don't have brakes. So that's the big thing that we're going to be watching here in the next couple of hours. That tornado warning goes right up to the Mississippi River, and it will continue. But again, no warnings, active tornado warnings at least, in our local area for the time being. But we are keeping the stuff out to the west in mind here in the next couple of minutes, Dave.
Yeah, for the time being. Very well said, because that's exactly what we're looking at. These storms hopefully are dampening the atmosphere, as I mentioned a little while ago. And if they are doing it enough, the storms that are racing out of Louisiana right now might find a harder situation for them to kind of overcome. But if they're not, because right now these storms have a lot more forcing with them, and this particular cell is one to be reckoned with. It's coming out of eastern Louisiana and moving towards Vicksburg at this point in time. Will it hold together? Hard to know, but we're going to have a pretty good idea as it moves northeastward. It's moving 65 miles an hour, so it's going to be to the Mississippi River probably within the hour. Can we storm track it? Let's just do that just to kind of show folks how far away this particular storm is. Again, going 65 miles an hour coming out of Louisiana. And there are tornado warnings for the parishes of eastern Louisiana at this point in time. So again, like I said, I think it's about an hour, not even an hour from Vicksburg, just to let our folks in Warren County know if this cell holds together. But this is a double-edged sword, all right? And going back to the bigger picture of radar here, this is a double-edged sword because we want this line to come through. Okay, I tell you what, let's go to Storm Tracker real quick. Storm Tracker's onto something here. It looks like a wall cloud southwest. I think you just passed Elton Road. Now you're a little bit farther south. You're at exit 85, Sywell. All right, so Brandon Walker, so let's go to you. What are you seeing right now? Brandon, go ahead.
Yeah, Dave, again, we're going what is this again, Keith? I-20?
It's an I-55.
I-55 going south to west. We just passed through Sywell Road. That's correct. And so, again, we've just passed through Byram right now. And, again, this will be off towards our, I guess, more so west of us right now. What we're seeing, again, this is where that particular cell y'all are talking about. You can actually see the shelf cloud developing right there as this particular storm continues to, again, track northeast across the area. Again, really, really nasty situation. Again, this is only a severe thunderstorm warning, for this particular cell, but you can just see how low that cloud deck is hanging right now. I mean, get a good look at that. Again, I mean, textbook as far as with the shelf cloud right there, as it continues to push northeast right now. Again, it's one of those situations. I know y'all have also been talking about this, Dave, Patrick, and Peyton. Take it downstream. Again, folks that are downstream of this particular situation, a tornado could be possible with this particular severe thunderstorm warning. But again, that's a live look at what we're seeing right now as far as, again, that's going to be continuing to move. That is northwest of Byram right now. Again, if you're looking at the radar, northwest of Byram, and what we're seeing as far as that particular cell continuing to move northeast, which is downstream, will be Jackson, Flowood, Pearl, Richland, and also Brandon in that cone. Well, also, I think we have the tree line right here. Again, say if this does produce a tornado, this is the situation for folks that are on the road right now. And I'll kind of put it back as far as on the interstate. Again, you can't see this as far as on the ground because, again, we have so many trees in the community. It's hard for folks to see situations like this that are just off as far as to our right and what we're going to be seeing. Again, having a little bit of camera problem here. But one more look at this particular system as it continues to track northeast across the area. I'll give things back over to y'all in the studio, but we'll continue to track what we're seeing out here, folks.
Okay, and I just want to let folks know at home that we have 2 people in the storm tracker right now. We do that for safety purposes, and we do not have someone holding a camera. It's actually robotic. Attached to the vehicle. So I want you to be aware of that. We don't have someone driving and also holding a camera at the same time. They're definitely being safe. I want to stay on this here for a little bit. We are looking just northwest of Byram at this point. That's where they are located, where Highway 425 comes into I-55 or the other way around, depending on how you look at it. And the storm is very easy for them to see because they're in the drier air that is just southeast of the storm cell. But you can see very dark skies out there. And this is a severe thunderstorm warned cell that is moving southwest to northeast. It is not a tornado, at least at this point in time, but we are watching very closely for any changes that may be happening with that. Hail is increasing with this particular cell. So we might want to put on hail tracker here back in the studio just to take a look at what's going on there. But the hail is probably increasing with this storm. I noticed a little bit of a tinge in the clouds too. That's sometimes another characteristic when you're seeing hail. But let's take a look at hail tracker back on Max here. And there it is. And the storm tracker is actually right about here, almost to the end of this warning, and right in here near Spring Ridge Road and back through Bethesda, we're looking at penny-size hail, and we've had reports of pea-size hail in this general area. So it makes sense. The good news is the hail's not all that large, not yet, but it doesn't take much for these storms to get carried away. This is also our severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect until 7 o'clock for Brandon. Also Pearl, Dogwood, Flowood, Spillway, over through Jackson, and then back over to the McRaven area, Raymond Road, and then down through Spring Ridge Road and the Byron community. Terry is not under a severe thunderstorm warning right now, but the city of Jackson certainly is, as this storm is coming in. And if there's going to be any kind of tornado formation, it's going to be right in here, which is now just south really of Metro Center and southwest of Forest Hill High School. That's probably where the development is, and that's where Brandon and the storm tracker, we're looking at it. And we see it there on one of our scans. You can actually see the inflow and the outflow, but we've seen that before with other storms so far today. This activity is moving northeast at 30 miles an hour. You look farther west, though, and that's the activity in Louisiana that we really have to start paying attention to, because that's where we do have a tornado warning in effect for this cell that's coming out of Columbia, Louisiana, and moving off to the east closer to Vicksburg. Let's go back to Storm Tracker real quick for a second, just see what they're looking at right now as they're watching that storm cell. I think they turned around. I may have missed that.
Just so you know, they just went to a tour possible on that storm.
Yeah, okay, so it makes sense what we're seeing right now. Hopefully they're watching our broadcast here. And so Brandon Walker, you're out there right now. You're going northbound, right? You're going back towards the storm that is moving up towards getting closer to Jackson.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. Hey, Dave. Yeah, I do want to add again, we're starting to see lightning with this particular cell as it continues to track. Again, that's going to be just northwest right now of Byram. But again, I've told Keith is my driver. He's been doing a heck of a job today as far as getting us in the position for these storms. But again, we're taking our time. I also want to reiterate, you want to be on the backside of these storms if they were to produce a tornado. Again, this is the spot that we're in right now, which you could call it the southeast side of that, well, southwest side of that storm. So if we do get a tornado to drop from this particular cell, this is where you want to be. But again, you can just get an idea of, you have the wall cloud. If I was ahead of this, what we were seeing earlier, I'd continue to shift to the northeast. Also do want to add, for those downstream, I know Patrick, Peyton, and Dave, y'all have already talked about this, but folks, this could become a situation here with that tornado possible added to this particular severe thunderstorm. And I know, Patrick, you've let folks know about that. Again, go ahead and find that prepared place to be ready for this particular storm as it moves across the area, because again, it has that environment to be able to feed. But I want to also add, there's still folks, a lot of people traveling right now on this particular interstate. This is I-55, right, Keith?
This is I-55 heading northeast.
So we're heading northeast right now on I-55. And so again, a lot of traffic still out. If you know folks that are in the Jackson metro area and they said, hey man, I'm just now getting off, you may want to shoot them a call and said, hey, just hold on a minute. You got a severe thunderstorm warning heading your way, and we want you to be careful. Hunker down until this passes over. But again, you're getting a good look at what's happening right now. That particular cell that's going to be heading towards the Jackson metro area. I know we got this 18-wheeler kind of sliding up on us right now, but again, we'll let them pass. We'll get a better shot of what we're looking at right now.
Hey,
and so,
and,
Keith, if you can just slow down just a little
ahead.
bit. We got anybody behind us?
Brandon,
I think we're good.
you guys,
There we go.
what you guys should do.
All right, so again, that's
is-
just another look at what we got going on. Again, that particular cell, again, moving northeast. It's more so north of Byram right now. It'll be moving through the Jackson Metro, Flowood, Pearl, and Richland to be impacted.
Go ahead, Patrick.
down there until that storm goes across. So get off at Sidewell right here at the next exit. Go ahead and turn around, get on this frontage road, and then lock down there just south of that storm. We'll be able to see it come across I-55. We don't want to get you too close to the storm as it's making its way up to the north. So go ahead and get off at the right here at Sidewell. Go back down south along the frontage road, lock down on the frontage road, and watch it pass there. And we'll come back to you whenever you guys do that. Let's come back over to the radar perspective. And again, this storm has come up with a severe thunderstorm with a tornado possible tag. Let's go over to Dave at the BAM. Okay.
All right. So what we're doing right now is we want to track what's going on with this storm. It is moving into South Jackson. Here's one part of it. Here's the other part of it. Again, this is the circulation right in here that we're concerned about as it's moving into South Jackson. We've got our storm tracker that is following up the storm. But if you live in Jackson or if you live right now in Pearl, please be paying special attention to this storm cell. It is very important you do so because this could turn tornadic at any moment. In fact, they have changed the severe thunderstorm warning to mention that a tornado is possible from this cell, and that's why we're staying very close on it. What am I looking at off to the side of the screen? I am looking at our storm tracker video. Can we go back to that? I just want to show what's going on because we are looking at a different vantage point of the storm. So if you can, take back storm tracker on video there, and there you go. As they're working their way northbound on the frontage road currently, moving north, they're passing the Swinging Bridge Market, and the storm is right now moving into South Jackson and moving northeast. Now, the good news, I'll tell you this, is I don't see a funnel right this moment, but it looks pretty serious there, Patrick, on I-55 south at Savannah Street. Why don't you talk us through it on Max 2 over there?
Yeah, let's take Max 2 really quickly. We do have the camera there, and what you saw there was the rain shaft of this storm. And it's probably some large hail associated with this as well. It's moving up across portions of southern Hinds County. That is just a rain shaft right now. Let's hope that there's nothing else involved in there. But again, it's starting to try to wrap up. We've been watching that storm very closely. So if there were to be a tornado, it would be rain wrapped here. Take the course of least regret if you're in central Hinds County, eastern portions of Hinds County, Byram, South Jackson. Go ahead and take that course of least regret. We're watching it come across. I think that's going to be very close to Terry Road, Forest Hill Road on the south side of town. Again, you're looking at it from I-55 at Savannah Street. We need to get folks off the roadway here because this thing's going to come blasting across very close to Elton Road here very soon. Caney Creek and that general area. Go ahead and take the course of least regret because this is now moving over the interstate here very soon. Again, this is looking from Savannah Street. That's a look from the northern end of the metro area at I-55 Gluckstadt. But the main story right now is the storm that's working its way across the I-55 corridor. Downstream of this, outside of Byram, we're looking towards Richland and Florence. Okay, Richland and Florence over into Rankin County. There's a lot of heavy rainfall moving across downtown. Maybe some hail associated with the storm as it's moving through downtown, but the circulation that we're seeing is making its way across this portion of the metro.
A storm spotter is saying that is reporting a pretty stout wall cloud just south of I-20 at the I-55 interchange. It looks to be weakly rotating at this point, but I'm sure that hopefully we'll get more confirmation on that. But at this point in time, this is still a severe thunderstorm warning. No tornado warning is in effect right now for Hinds or Rankin County. And this does also include Jackson as well. This is only a severe thunderstorm warning where we still have that rotating area very broad at this point in time where we are still getting reports of a wall cloud, but no tornado at this point in time. Dave?
And that's what our storm tracker has been spotting too. It's just south of where this storm cell is. And if you can, let's take some video. You want to put up storm tracker for me? And we're looking right now at the storm cell from Storm Tracker. Again, we're right off Frontage Road in the South Jackson area, really closer to Byram to be technical. And you can see the storm is crossing I-55 and pretty much close to the stack at this point. But it's really hard to make out whether there's a funnel cloud or not, but it wouldn't take much for one to develop. And that's why the National Weather Service added a what we call a tornado tag to this storm. The potential is there. Also getting reports of hail, some decent sized hail around Forest Hill High School, getting a report in of about nickel size hail as a matter of fact. Peyton?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, and that same storm spotter said that very low rotation is picking up within the wall cloud.
Yeah, and so, we're watching that wall cloud now making its way across the area. And what we mentioned before, a wall cloud is how you end up with a tornado, okay? If you don't have a wall cloud, you don't end up with a tornado. But if you have a wall cloud, tornado is possible. But you can have a wall cloud without a tornado, and hopefully that's the case right now. But again, it's crossing I-55 very close to Savannah Street and Daniel Lake Boulevard. Crossing the Pearl River, again, that's going to be out here by the Savannah Street treatment plant, eventually making its way out closer to Highway 49. Richland, nobody needs to be on 49. No, that's a very heavily populated area.
I'm about to take a sky cam real quick because you can see it from our WLBT sky cam. You can kind of see it between, I just swinged it around, so this will be changing
it'll
here
take
shortly.
a second to get over there.
But you can see the lowering within the wall cloud, even through the rain shaft. So if we do see anything touching the ground, we should be able to see it through this vantage point.
Yeah, we've got a great vantage point on that storm right now. This is actually really swinging through the South Jackson Byram area now. Very well-defined rain shaft. We call that rain shaft or rain shield, whatever you want to call it. It basically shows where the wind is really rushing down with the heavy rain out of the core of that storm cell. This is moving northeastward. So if you're in Richland, if you're in Pearl, and you can see frequent lightning going on with that cell right now, Richland, also Pearl. This is going to come very close. The way I'm tracking it here on the screen, it's going to come pretty close to Trustmark Park in the next few minutes.
I'm just saying they are going with a tornado warning for the metro cell.
Okay, so we are going to go with a tornado warning, folks. Okay, back to radar. Let's go back to radar here. Get me back on the screen, please. We've got a tornado warning now in effect for the city of Jackson. And of course, we have about 15 apps on our phones here, so I apologize for that. But you can see a tornado warning is now in effect until 6:45 this evening for Hinds as well as Rankin counties. This includes Jackson. This includes South Jackson, also Richland, Pearl, over by the airport, extending to just about Whitfield. Go to it right now. Go to it right now. Storm Tracker. Let's put it up on the screen. What do we got, Brandon? Go ahead, Brandon.
We're kind of stuck in the cloud conditions right now as far as the trees. And so again, that's one of those situations that you get. It's hard to really find it, but again, we're going to continue to track it as we get back on the interstate.
Now a tornado warning in effect for the city of Jackson and South Jackson. Tornado cell right here. If we can zoom in on this guy right here, just south of the stack, this is the storm cell that I'm watching, moving up Terry Road towards about the South Jackson area. We've just passed really Elton Road here, and now we're getting close to the stack, and this is going to be lifting northeastward. So Flowood, get ready. Pearl, parts of Pearl and Richland, get ready. Over through the city of Jackson.
Dave, I don't want to. Can we real quick pull up our WLBT sky cam real quick?
Let's go to it.
Can someone pull that up and back? Because it looks like we could, but it's looking really interesting at this point in time. There it is, Dave.
Yeah,
Okay.
very, very ragged wall cloud there, but it is a wall cloud, needless to say. And so when we say a wall cloud, there's a lowering the cloud base there. It could be a situation where we could have the condensation funnel not necessarily hitting the ground right now.
But that could drop one at any point.
I see the rotation. I'm standing really close to it here, just getting really close up on it, and I can see the swirl. So it's about to do something. So we're going to stay on this. Let's just stay on this video here for a second, folks. All right, we've already warned you if you live in parts of Rankin as well as the Jackson area. We've already warned you that this is the time to take cover, get away from windows. Remember, we're on the free First Alert weather app. If you don't want to take your TV with you, of course, which is not practical, but this is the time to get to where you're supposed to be when a tornado is going towards your area. And right now we are watching this rotating wall cloud, okay, moving right over the Pearl River. This is from South Jackson, moving over towards the city of Pearl. Does this sound familiar? And it continues moving from southwest to northeast at around 30 miles an hour.
Maybe trying to get the condensation funnel down to the ground.
Yeah, let's see. I see what we're... Jeffrey, if you're talking to me, you're talking so fast, I can't hear a word what you're saying. All right, so you can see we're watching right now. You can see right now the cell is their circulation there. You can see clouds differing in the way they're circulating around. And so right now a tornado warning in effect, and we are watching to see if we're actually going to get a touchdown here out of this cloud. Again, a rotating wall cloud, Patrick. When we see rotating wall clouds, doesn't take much to get the actual funnel to reach the ground.
And it's probably crossing the Pearl River right now, south of downtown Jackson. So south of the stack, that's where the possible tornado. But you see a lot of people, that interstate right there, that is at the stack. We don't need anybody on the stack right now. Nobody needs to be on I-20 or Highway 49 right now. And Peyton's doing a great job keeping up with this circulation. Again, you could kind of see at a moment that it was trying to come down to the surface. It may have been some scud or some low-hanging fruit, some clouds that were streaming up into the storm. Of course, the storm's ingesting all this moisture and instability today. We still have that wall cloud. It looks a little less low, not as low as it was a couple of minutes ago, but it's trying to do something. So Richland, Pearl, safe place now, interior room, away from windows, lowest floor of your home. That's going to come across Highway 49 out near KLLM. That's going to be out here closer to, where they're doing the construction sites out there along 49 and Old 49, eventually making its way again along I-20, the Pearl outlets, Trustmark Park, eventually down the road. We're talking Pearl High School and out towards Hines Community College in the Rankin County campus here fairly soon. You see that?
It's so close.
It's trying. Yeah,
it really is trying. And to give folks a perspective, we are located right now in Jackson, right by where Old Brandon Road comes across the Pearl River. That's the location of where this tower cam is, and we're looking due south along the Pearl River. So to give you a vantage point, if you're not familiar with the area that we're looking at on screen, some of these landmarks may not look familiar to you because we're actually 200 feet in the air and we are looking. And this is why I said the difference between having a catastrophic kind of incident and just having a funnel in the air is sometimes a couple hundred feet. So we are at 200 feet off the ground and we are watching this rotating wall cloud that is now, I can pretty safely say, it is now moving into Rankin County, over Richland and really close to the industrial park of Richland. And this is now moving more towards the east and will be over Trustmark Park in less than 5 minutes in the Pearl area. So you can see right there, that's 55 in the distance. We're staying on this shot. We're just going to bump it every once in a while just to follow along with this. But we are under a tornado warning right now. So you need to get to your safe place. We'll continue talking to you. We're going to keep staying on the air with you anyway and watch this storm. It's getting a little obscured by some rain right now that's falling out there, but it is currently just about to move over into Rankin County from the South Jackson area. Very heavy rain falling at WLBT. You see the road there on the bottom of your screen? That's Old Brandon Road. And that's what crosses over. Really, we call it the Woodrow Wilson. The Woodrow Wilson Bridge is there as well. And you can see that the low clouds are swirling, but they're not touching the ground just yet. And we really have a great vantage point on this storm cell. I think we're going to have a decent vantage point on it the whole way through as it continues moving east, northeast at around 30 miles an hour. Peyton Garrison, I know you've been watching this. What are you seeing right now?
I mean, I'm still seeing the same thing that you are. There's no tornado on the ground. This wall cloud, this rotating wall cloud could potentially put down a tornado at any point in time. So anyone still included under this tornado warning, like Dave said, I think it's safe to say that this storm is now, for the most part, in Rankin County. So anyone that is in Rankin County included under this tornado warning, including Pearl, Brandon, Flowood, the Dogwood area, out towards Castle Woods, anyone that is near the Jackson Airport, you need to get in your tornado safe place. There is not a tornado on the ground. As we can see, we're following this wall cloud with you with this sky cam, but this thing could drop a tornado at any moment.
I'm very impressed with Peyton Garrison right now. She's talking, she's watching the radar, and she's moving the tower cam all at the same time, really doing a great job. We are monitoring this storm from several different angles. This could go a tornado at any moment, and we right now have the best vantage point that we could have on this storm right now. We have another look, and this is in Pearl from our storm tracker unit. Brandon is out there right now. He's looking at the storm from another standpoint. Brandon, if you can hear me, tell me where you are exactly and what you're looking at.
So we're on I-55 North. Again, we're kind of trailing it very slowly right now. Again, don't want to get put in a serious situation here because I know this is a tornado warned storm. But again, like y'all were saying, Dave, there is certainly that rotation out here. Things are very calm. And again, I'm going to just kind of bring the camera back around. It's one of those situations, again, there's a lot of people still on the road. You know, text people, let them know, be safe. They're trying to travel. Again, not seeing necessarily a funnel cloud right now at the moment, but again, we are seeing that rotating cloud deck happening. The possibility for a tornado could be possible in this situation. And so again, this is serious out here, but we want to let people know what's happening. Of course, we're doing that from a safe distance. And so again, very calm conditions right now. A lot of people are still traveling. We do have a couple people pulled over. And so, again, that's one of those situations people are probably, hopefully they have some way of hearing some of these warnings that are happening, and they, too, are taking heed to the warning. And so, again, want to be sure, stay on the meridian, Keith, my bad. And so you want to be sure that people are being safe. But, again, Dave, kind of go back over what y'all are seeing from the from the radar standpoint, because, again, things are very calm out here. But, of course, we are being safe as we kind of trail this particular system.
Okay, and maybe we can double box at some point where we could see both things at the same time. Back on radar here, I want to show you what's going on. This is where the storm cell is on the Pearl River, really moving into Rankin County at this point in time. It will be near Flowood at 6:15. Jackson International Airport, 6:20. Castlewood, 6:28. Fannin, 6:34. I am not forgetting about you folks in Pearl. It's very close to the Pearl area right now. It's moving over Pearl. All of you folks that I just mentioned, you need to take cover at this point in time. I will tell you, I got a lot of folks right now in Rankin County that are holding their breath. They're nervous. Don't freak out if I don't freak out. I'm not freaking out. So I'm just letting you know that we are watching this storm, okay, and we are expecting it to continue moving southwest to northeast. And I am watching what's going on with this particular storm cell. We've got a couple of different angles on it. If we can, let's go back over to our tower cam and see exactly where the storm is and how it looks now. And at this point, it's just a dark, rotating wall cloud.
And we also have the other tower camera on top of the Regions Bank Plaza. That's on max 2 if you want to take that. But very heavy rainfall, hail possible moving across Airport Road, Dogwood, out towards Flowood at this point. The circulation, though, is behind that. So you may get blasted with rain and hail first, and then you got to wait for the potential for a tornado. There's a look at that camera. Again, I don't know if you can swing that around. That camera's a little slow, but looks like there might be something that's trying to get going, just going across the Pearl River there.
On the right?
On the right-hand side. That would be up near Flowood Drive, very close to the Caterpillar plant. moving up towards the north, up closer to the recycling plant along Flowwood Drive, heading up towards the north and east. So again, what we're watching there is that storm. Again, maybe just some heavy rainfall, but I can't really tell from that perspective.
Look at the flag blowing there, though. That is, the winds are really strong right now. That's for sure.
Even if you're not getting a tornado, you're definitely
Right.
getting strong winds on the backside and the rear flank downdraft of this.
And what people are forgetting is this is also drawing in on the air above the storm. So it's really pulling down a lot of that air. Plus, if there's hail, that's going to be cold air, and that will rush down towards the ground even harder. So this is now tracking in what I call the old part of Flowwood, the older part of Flowwood, over by the equipment manufacturer, by the little airstrip they have there on 468. So just keep in mind, if you're in that area, that's where you want to be taking cover right now. The north side of Pearl, there's the rain shaft. That's just rain coming down from the storm, really being dumped out of the storm. There's a lot of lightning there as well. And we are just in the right place at the right time, unfortunately, again, here at WLBT, tracking this storm as it moves across the area. That's the fairgrounds that you're looking at there. So if you're not familiar with what you're seeing on the screen, the fairgrounds are on the lower right-hand portion of the screen, and the storm is moving from southwest to northeast across Rankin County. Storm Tracker is also out there right now on I-20, just passing by Trustmark Park and the Cracker Barrel. If you want to go to that real quick, just to get a view of what Storm Tracker sees. This is in Pearl, and you can see it's passing right by close to Beardman Road. Really, that's Pearson Road, as you can see, crossing over Pearson Road right now. And again, looking at a rotating wall cloud, but we haven't had any additional reports at this point. Dime-size hail being reported right now on Flowwood Drive and Old Fannin Road. So that is what we're looking at right now, but we are still under a tornado warning. We are still under a tornado warning for Rankin County at this point. And just to update you, Byram is no longer under the tornado warning. They have trimmed it back a little bit. It still includes Jackson, but now the storm cell is really moving more so towards Lakeland Drive, and really where 468 Flowwood Drive kind of matches up with it. So that's the area. I call it the older part of Flowwood, but you know what I'm talking about if you know this area of Rankin County. This is closer to the Pearl River here, and it's getting closer to the more of the development or more of the developed parts of Flowwood. So if you're in Dogwood, Flowwood, and you're even getting up towards the spillway, keep in mind you're under a tornado warning here, and that extends to about the Pelahatchie Bay area just about. So this storm is moving northeastward. Very intense rain, by the way, around Dogwood over through Castlewoods. So even if you don't get a tornado, if you live over on the east side of the airport, over through Castlewoods, down through downtown Brandon, you've got very heavy rain that you're going to be dealing with here for the next 10 minutes or so until this storm blows on by. We're fortunate. We're very close to it on radar, so we have a good idea as to what we're looking at here. We've got tower cams looking at it as well. I don't know, Peyton, I know you're looking at the tower cams. Have you seen it develop any better? Because it looks to me, the last time
very
we looked at
elevated.
it, yeah, very elevated off the ground. It's lifted up. I mean, it's hard to. This looks nothing like it did 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, let's go over to Max 2. We've got the MDOT camera over at Lakeland and Lakeland Commons there. Some of the cameras have gone down along this path here, but probably still image here, probably one of the outages there, possibly some power outages with this, but very heavy rainfall pushing past the airport through Dogwood. And again, the circulation with this storm is starting to weaken a bit as it's making its way out to the north and east. We do want to turn our attention back to the west really quickly. We're talking about that storm that was closer to Columbia, Louisiana, earlier just south of Monroe. This storm is approaching the Mississippi River, still has some rotation associated with it, approaching Eagle Lake and Vicksburg. We told you probably about 6:30 or so, so it may have to look out for a tornado warning that could come out for portions of Issaquena and Warren counties here fairly soon. Let's go over to the velocity product. And again, we still have the eyes on the storm in Rankin County. We're not forgetting about you guys, but because we have the eyes on the storm, we can see that the storm is not producing a tornado. So that's a positive thing. When you have all those eyes on the storm, we can say, okay, for right now, there's not a tornado on the ground, but take the course of least regret if you're out in Brandon, out towards Flowwood, out towards Pelahatchie as that storm makes its way down the pipeline. Very strong winds blasting down I-20 and Highway 80 out in Louisiana right now. If that stays on the same path, again, it could be an issue for Eagle Lake and Vicksburg. Based off of what we're seeing right there, probably going to be a situation where we're going to be talking about more so straight line wind potential. That's how that may have kind of evolved. And Peyton was just zooming into a storm up here near Lynchburg and Brownsville, up near the Big Black River bottoms. And again, starting to see some rotation here. So, we talked about air mass recovery. I don't think the air mass cares at this point.
No,
it's just going to try
doing
to do
its
whatever it
thing.
wants to do. Yeah.
All right, we have sirens going off right now in Rankin County. A lot of folks nervous in Rankin County about what's going on with the storm. Let's just go in and show you what's going on, show you where the storm is and where it is not. And that way it'll help clear things up a little bit. The storm has passed over Pearl. So Pearl, you're out of this particular tornado warning as far as we're concerned. You're still under a tornado warning, but I'm just saying that the actual storm cell is located right there, very close to the airport, moving northeastward right now. So Castlewoods and over through the spillway, you're still in danger, and that's where this cell is wrapped up, very close to the airport, about to move over to Dogwood and moving northeastward. So if you live in Fannin, if you live in Castlewoods, over through about the spillway, Highway 25, Grants Ferry Road, that's the area that you really want to start taking cover right now, just in case. Storm Tracker is actually on the roads right now in Rankin County. I believe, are we on, we're on Highway 80, it looks like. Guys, where Brandon, where are you located right now?
That's Airport Road, Dave.
Oh, you're at Airport Road. I'm sorry. Okay, it looks like you're very close to Interstate 20, or you're working your way. Yeah, there you are. And you're looking up to the north and east. It looks like the worst of this is now over Dogwood, because we had a report a little while ago of circulation literally just moving over the Merritt Health Facility.
We're gonna
Go.
sorry, Dave. We're gonna have a new tornado warning coming out of Madison Parish.
Okay, so that would be coming out of Madison Parish, and that
Yes.
would be for.
It's a Queen and
Yeah, so that's going to be the downstream tornado warning. So we're going to continue to monitor. We've got a couple different fights on our hands right now, folks. We've got this storm that's in Rankin County, which we have yet to have a report of it being on the ground. That's great news. We want you to just stay put for the time being. But now this storm that I was talking about, I don't know, an hour ago, sitting over eastern parts of Louisiana, that is continuing to move very fast, very quickly. It is now 9 miles from Tallulah, to give you a perspective, and this will be in west central areas of Mississippi any